Another brick fan with a collectible minifigure series. This is the Disney 100th Anniversary Collection. This is set 71038. It was released in May 2023. It has a total of 137 pieces, 18 minifigures. Each is sold in a blind bag that cost about $5 each. I did a field guide yesterday, so I'll leave a link here for that if you want to get an idea on how to find these figures yourself. But let's get into this set, and I'll talk about some of the figures I really like. For example, I really like how Ernesto de la Cruz turned out. I thought he was a really good figure, really nice detailed printing on there. That sombrero is really nice. The guitar is really cool. I really like that, and Coco is actually a really good movie. Some others that, kind of are favorites of mine, I think I really liked the Robin Hood movie, so it was nice to see Robin Hood in this. Stitch is a really nice character as well. As far as other printing that was really good, I thought they did a really nice job on Mickey Mouse here in that wizard's costume. But they really did a good job on a lot of these figures. And one of the things I really appreciate about these is the base plate, as you can see here on Jiminy Cricket. Just take that base plate off really quick. You can see on this base plate that they have the Disney 100 logo kind of printed in silver here. So that is really cool to have that. It makes it kind of a special piece. Let's go ahead and go through all 18 of these figures now. Here are our first two minifigures. This is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. As I mentioned in the intro, he was one of the first characters that Walt Disney ever did. And then he's got a clapperboard from the movies. So there's Oswald with a scene number on it. And then next to him is Pinocchio, and he's got this fishbowl with a goldfish in it, which is a nice little accessory. And of course, Pinocchio has this unique minifigure head with the long nose on it. Oswald's pretty plain printing here, just black and white with the blue shorts, which I thought they did a nice job with. Pinocchio looks good in his big bow tie, a vest. He's got the mid legs, and those are dual molded. Actually, both these figures have dual molded legs. Some arm printing showing the short sleeves on Pinocchio here, and then a feather in his hat. Nicely done. And then the back, you can see the dual molding on Oswald's legs. And then I guess I was wrong about Pinocchio, but he does have some side printing you see here on the legs with the stars down there. A little bit of back printing. You see Oswald's tail there. Then once again, the side printing here on Pinocchio. So two very nice figures to start off our batch. Next up we have Jiminy Cricket here with the upturned collar. There's actually quite a few of these felt pieces used in this series. And then we have Mickey Mouse with this very large head with the wizard cap on. He of course has a broom. This is kind of one of the newer brooms with the antenna piece and with the bar piece, and then the new broom end here. And then Jiminy Cricket's carrying this kind of dark pink, I would say, umbrella. Of course, the top hat for Jiminy Cricket, he's using the short legs. Oh, and Mickey also has this bucket as well. So there's a bucket piece for Mickey from that famous scene in Fantasia. Jiminy Cricket is nice, smartly dressed here in a nice black overcoat, a vest. Then he has these short legs here. The printing on Mickey is very good and consistent all the way down through his legs, which I thought turned out quite nicely. No side printing for either one of these characters, but you do see the good printing on the back of Mickey with the continuing of those stars and maybe that little belt. And then the back of Jiminy Cricket's waistcoat here. Mickey's legs are dual molded. So once again, two very nice figures for this set. Next up we have two from The Princess and the Frog. This is Tiana, and this is Dr. Facilier. Tiana, of course, was the heroine of the story. She has this crown because she was a princess in the end, because she ended up marrying the prince who had been turned into a frog. So we do see this frog figure here. She also has a 2x3 tile here that advertises Tiana's place, which is a restaurant, which was always her dream. Dr. Facilier here has, looks like cards and then maybe a staff or cane perhaps. Here he was a voodoo practitioner that was trying to gain fame and money, of course. He's kind of dressed in this too small of shirt here, but a jacket over the top. So I think pretty good representations of these two characters. Tiana's got this very nice metallic, so it's like some reflective material there, maybe a gold or a bronze type color. And then she has this nice skirt piece in this spring green, I believe is the official color, but it's kind of a light green or a lime green. She has the printing on her arms there to show she's wearing long gloves. Of course, the back of her dress is cut low here, continuation of the stars, and then the piece on Dr. Facilier here. I had the hat on backwards, it looks like, because I'll go around to the front of that again. You see Dr. Facilier here has that pink feather in the cap there and that skull and crossbones on his top hat. And that big grin on his face. And Tiana has an alternate expression, as you can see here. Next up we have the Queen of Hearts. So she has this nice crown piece. She's carrying a heart on a small post piece here. This is Princess Aurora, who has this crown, of course, and this brown owl. Queen of Hearts also has this fabric upturned collar. She's got the heart shape, as you can kind of see there on her torso, with the red and black kind of alternating, and then down on this very large skirt piece, you can see some more striping in there. Princess Aurora has some gold highlights here in her dress, this very nice blonde wig, the big smile here. And then as we move around, you see that there is arm printing that kind of matches the collar of her dress. So this also, a piece like this one here on the Queen was also in Series 24 for the Aristocrat. Then here you see the kind of a red tie here in the Queen's hair. They do have alternate expressions. There's Princess Aurora, is kind of sleeping, and then we move this collar out of the way. You see the Queen of Hearts kind of got an angry expression there. So both of these do have alternate faces. And again, back printing here on Princess Aurora is pretty nice with that lace-up back for the dress. Arm printing again on this side. And you notice the Queen of Hearts has a red and a black arm to fit with her look. Next up we have Mulan and Ernesto de la Cruz. Mulan has this sword and then this little cage that includes the cricket or cricky, which has a nice little print of the cricket here on a clear cone piece. And then Ernesto has this very large sombrero with the hair built into it, and then this great guitar piece done with some gold accents as well as the kind of skull-like printing there. Very nicely done on that. I like the black and white printing here for Ernesto along with some silver accents in there that make that look really nice. Mulan has this kind of softer, like a rubber type hair piece, but you can also see her robes there, and how I like how the printing matches up quite well going down the leg here for her. Some good side printing on Ernesto. It goes all the way around his sombrero as well as on his arm and the side of his legs. Mulan has a dual molded leg, and she also has a little spot for a post piece over here on the side, so you could put a bow in her hair or something like that if you had one of those, which probably come in like the Friends sets and things like that. See the back here of Mulan, she has more angry expression there. And then Ernesto has a very wide grin here and some nice detail printing on the back of him as well, on his torso. More side printing for Ernesto there as well. Next up we have Miguel Rivera, and this is Pocahontas. So Miguel has a guitar also. This is a more just kind of standard guitar piece. He does have this hood piece, which I like very much. That goes with his head here. Pocahontas is carrying a compass, and then she has several of these leaf pieces that she comes with. Pocahontas has this really nice sloped hair piece, so it slopes like it's wind blown. She has a very nice traditional Indian garb here. So that turned out very nicely. Moving around the figures, you'll see the arm printing here on Miguel. And then a little bit of printing here in the back. Of course, he does have an alternate expression on his face here, you can see. And then Pocahontas also has an alternate expression and some still good printing here on her back to represent her traditional Indian garb there. Now, Pocahontas does have a tattoo here, or maybe an armband. So, and then some printing there on the legs I thought turned out quite nicely. And those are dual molded. Miguel does have an alternate face, so he comes with hair, so you don't have to use the hood piece if you don't want to. You can put hair on him as well. But he also has his kind of skeletal face here. So you can put the hood over that or put the hair on it, either way. And there are actually two expressions on that as well. So lots of options for how you present Miguel. And then Miguel also comes with Dante, who is the dog that he finds, a stray dog that he finds as part of the movie. Next up we have Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. So she's got this kind of half cape here, and then she has this rounded tile with a flat end. I believe this is a purse. Looks like it's made out of fur there. And she also has a Dalmatian. So there's a small Dalmatian that comes with this figure as well. I like her hair is done in black and white, split right down the middle. She has some big earrings incorporated into that hair piece. Robin Hood, of course, is carrying a bow and arrow. He's a fox. And he has a feather in his cap here, so the cap and the headpiece is a very nice mold. And then his traditional woodland garb, I would call it, and that nice, also in that kind of light green color. So his arms are printed with short sleeves. And there's some printing down around the base of his feet as well. Dual molded legs on both of these figures. You see the back of Cruella with more of those tails, indicating some fur there. And then she does have a smiling expression here as an alternate expression. There's a tail, of course, on Robin Hood, since he is a fox. Next up we have Prince John here with a cape piece, and then he's got a bag, presumably full of cash because he was taxing the citizens. So he was also from the movie Robin Hood. The crown looks pretty good. It's big, so it's large on his head here. If you've seen the movie, the crown never did fit him very well. It was too big for him. And then this is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, and he has these interesting... His torso is done with these dual arms on it, which I thought were really nice, and the headpiece is molded quite well. Good printing on Prince John here. And as we move around, you see that he does have some matching printing on the collar, on the cuff of his sleeve there. Stitch has these blasters that he comes with. And then you look, you see there's good printing on the toes there and on his knees. He does have the short legs that don't bend. But these arms are pretty interesting, how you have the dual arm there, with, of course, the little printing there. This cape piece here for Prince John is kind of odd. Maybe I've got it on there wrong, but the way it's kind of bent there, maybe it's designed to show through. And then here on the back of Stitch, you see those spikes that he has. Pointed out that Prince John has the dual molded legs. And then once again, we still have the side printing on both of these figures. You can see that Prince John's wearing maybe some sandals, the way that's presented. Really like this Stitch figure. Last two are Baymax here in his charging stand. And then the Queen from Snow White. And the Queen comes with this magic mirror done in pearl gold with this nice print here. The Queen also comes with two felt pieces. So she has this upturned collar as well as a dual-sided cape. So it's black on one side and red on the other, which I thought was pretty nice to see as well. Her head is black and then it has this white printing on it, and there's not too much bleed through there, so I think they did a good job with that printing. This is another figure. Baymax is another figure here in this series that has different arms than the traditional minifigure arms. So these are very large, wide arms. And then printing all the way down to his toes there. Some side printing on Baymax here. And then you can see the Queen is wearing one of those sloped kind of dress pieces or robe pieces. Of course, here's the back of Baymax. Looks pretty much like the front. The Queen has a little bit of printing there, maybe a rope belt, perhaps, on her. Since this is two-sided or two-colored, the cape is relatively thick. She does not have an alternate expression, and neither does Baymax, as you can imagine. So here they are with, and then on the side of Baymax, you see there's a little print here on the side of his charging stand. It does come with two of these, so you could put the printed piece on both sides if you wanted to. I think the instructions showed just a printed piece on one side and a plain on the other. But once again, very nice pieces, and you can see that the cloth can sometimes get a little misaligned, but there it is. So now we've seen all 18 of these figures up close. Let's go back and I'll give you my final thoughts on this set. Overall, this is a really nice set. I believe this is the third Disney set that they have released in the collectible minifigure series. I got the second Disney set, which I liked very much, and I reviewed that several years ago when it came out. These are all great characters in here. I think it was really fun to see some of them. The way they did this in the past is they released a couple figures from each movie, and they did that sort of here. You'll see that, so from Pinocchio, they released Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket, which are nice. Of course, we had Tiana and Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog, Ernesto and Miguel from Coco, Robin Hood and Prince John from Robin Hood. But then there's several of these standalone characters like Mulan, Pocahontas, so a couple Disney princesses, and then I like the inclusion of Oswald, since he was one of the first characters that Walt Disney ever did. And then, of course, Mickey, as you know, from Fantasia, and his wizard costume was really nice. Might have been kind of cool to have seen, another person from, from Big Hero 5 to go with Baymax, or maybe Snow White to go along with the evil queen there. Maybe Lilo from Lilo and Stitch to see two of those. But So even though they've done 3, there are plenty more Disney characters to release. So I expect to see more of these in the future. The price is nice that it stayed consistent. We're still looking at $5, and they're still doing it in the bags, which make it fairly easy to find these figures. Each of them have kind of unique pieces in them that you can feel for, so I like that. They've been talking about going to boxes, which I personally wouldn't like very much, because now we're going to have to buy a lot more boxes in order to try and get all of the figures in a series. The bags make it much easier to feel them out. Regardless of all that, I think this is the value is still really good here. These are very high quality minifigures. I like how they put these sets together. I think personally, for me, about 16 is probably the perfect amount for these. Most of these series, many of the latest series have been 12 minifigures. So like the Marvel one, the DC one, Series 23, Series 24, the Muppets were all 12. This one is 18. I think the other Disney series were 16 in each one of those. The largest series was the Harry Potter series, and that had 22 in it. So like I said, I like about 16. I expect most of them to be 12, so it's kind of a surprise to see this at 18. All good figures, and honestly, for me, a good value. I really do like collecting these minifigure series. Hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on these minifigures. I'm going to get started on my next video, and until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my LEGO reviews. I've left a link to my collectible minifigure review playlist up here on the screen.